All right, everybody. We'll be ready to talk about smashing call reluctance today. Thanks for joining me on the webinar. I'm Dale Archdekin, the founder of Smart Sales Coaching, and we are talking about smashing call reluctance today, how to get yourself to do the things you know you need to do. So I'm hoping that throughout today's training, I'm going to give you some excellent tips and tricks and strategies. And frankly, I'm going to be telling you about stuff that I personally do to help myself get over call reluctance or get over the things that I don't want to do in my business so that I can move it forward and grow and earn more, make more, grow the business, achieve new outcomes and new goals that I have for my own business and life. So I'm hoping that you take some of that away today. And getting started, I personally have worked as a telemarketer selling credit card insurance in high school part-time. Yes, credit card insurance. I think it was pretty worthless back then, but certainly now it would be a silly thing to sell. But I started selling credit card insurance, calling complete strangers, selling them this idea and getting them to give me their credit card number over the phone to charge it and put the insurance on their card. I cold prospected homeowners. This is before I got a real estate license, before I started selling real estate. Cold prospected homeowners to refi them out of high interest rate second mortgages. And before I got into real estate, I didn't have any money to spend on leads. I didn't have past client sphere. And so basically I just went down to City Hall and looked up people's mortgage records, found people who had really high interest rate second loans, reverse looked up their number and called them out of the blue and asked them if I could refinance them and lower their payment for them. So I did that, and I did that for probably about a year. I personally took, when I was selling real estate, personally took between 5 to 7 listings per month from expired and for sale by owner calls, and I did this for years. Called tons of for sale by owners, tons of expireds, for rent by owners, circle prospecting, the whole nine. The whole nine. I have a lot of years of experience of cold prospecting people. And now, I don't know if you know this, but selling stuff to real estate agents is not that easy. Selling to professional salespeople takes a certain level of skill. And so for the last 9 years now, I and my company have been selling coaching and training to agents and inside sales agents, ISAs, essentially teams, brokers who run inside sales departments. So we've been teaching, coaching, and training to agents, and of course we have to sell it, right? We have to reach out to people who consume our content, watch our training, are partners with our partner companies, and so we've been doing that for the last 9 years. And here's what I can tell you after all that outbound cold call, phone work experience. Prospecting sucks. It sucks. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not fun. It's the last thing that any of us want to do. I am not one of those maniac people who somehow just loves cold prospecting people. I don't. And I have thousands and thousands of hours of experience of doing this. And, here's the truth about it. Rejection is never fun. It never gets more fun, right? I still don't like rejection. I've been doing it all these years. I've been in sales for about 30 years now, altogether. If we count back to when I first had that part-time prospecting job or telemarketing job in high school. So I've been in it for 30 years. Rejection's never fun. You can learn how to deal with it better. You can learn how to compartmentalize it. You can learn how to shift your perspective around it. But I mean, we as humans are built to crave acceptance and not rejection. So rejection for most of us is never fun. Getting started, lead generating, making calls, prospecting is the absolute hardest part. Keeping going is the next hardest part. I don't know if you've experienced this before, but you're like, I don't want to do it, or you're procrastinating, but you finally get yourself to actually make some calls and you do a couple, and then you're like, oh God, I'm just gonna switch topics here. I gotta get up and go get a snack, or get up and do a thing, or my alarm went off on my phone. I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna take this and let it, and you allow the distraction to happen so that you can quit. So keeping going is the next hardest part. Lead generating while you're busy is almost as hard, right? So continuing to lead generate, even though you have business, even though you have appointments, even though you have some deals in the pipeline, is one of the harder things to do, because we all naturally, once we get some business, we get some clients to service, we want to just get out of this prospecting stuff. We want to jump ship and be done with it. And so that's just a natural tendency. And I'm sure you've heard of this before, the roller coaster, right? The sales roller coaster. where you get some, you work hard, you finally do it, you need to get some business because you don't have anything going on. So you start working, you generate some business, some appointments, some people are shopping with you, listing their home. And then you start to get stuff under contract, right? That's the roller coaster taking you up. And now you're servicing the business that you have, you're closing the business that you have, and now you start down the other side. As you're closing that business and you come down the other side, if you're not lead generating, if you're not constantly filling the top of that funnel, then you're going to crash at the bottom at some point. All your buyers are going to purchase or disappear. They're either going to transact or they're going to evaporate, right? That's always happens. Your listings, your sellers are either going to transact or they're going to evaporate or they're going to expire and not sell, whatever it is. But at some point, you're going to run out of the business that you've generated. So if you aren't constantly filling that top of the funnel, you're going to crash at the bottom where you have no more business and you haven't been sort of filling your bench to be ready for more business. It's the classic problem. And I mean, this is the classic problem in all sales careers or all sales businesses across all industries. But in ours, it's much more pronounced because for the most part, most of us don't get ready to go leads, right? We don't get ready to go buyers and sellers handed to us all the time. Depending on where you're at, whether you're on a team, the team may be providing leads, but even within the team, you might be being provided leads that still need a lot of cultivation, a lot of nurturing in order to turn them into business. Or you might be a solo agent and you have to generate this business on your own. So in our business, in real estate, it's even worse because we have to constantly be filling that funnel because of the loss that we have, the attrition, the people who fall out. And because for the most part, most of the clients that we do business with are only going to transact with us once every 5 to 7 years. Yes, we can drive referrals from them, but it's not like they're on a subscription service. It's not like they're on a monthly retainer, right? We sell a property, they buy a home, they sell their home. Usually in most cases, that's going to be the last time they transact. The best we can do is get referrals from them for the next 5 to 7 years. So you literally have to be jamming more stuff into the top end of that funnel. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today is how can you get yourself to more consistently do what you have to do to start filling that funnel. And here's what I like to say and remind myself and remind our students is that there's one way to win and there's one way to lose in this business. And they're both sort of the opposite, they're the two sides of the same coin, if you will, right? There's a guaranteed way to win in this business and a guaranteed way to lose in this business. And the answer to both is the same thing. It's lead generation. If you can do your lead generation, the more consistently that you can do your lead gen, you are guaranteed to win in this business. And the way that you lose in this business is if you consistently do not lead generate, you are almost guaranteed to lose out of this business or fail out of this business at some point. This is the most important part of our business that I could even highlight for you, is lead generation. So, one of the things when I was in production, like I was so focused on lead generation and getting the next deal. I would sometimes have signed listing agreements sitting on my desk for weeks that I didn't turn in because I was so focused on lead generating and going on new appointments. That's bad. Don't do that, right? I had to get better at that. But the point is, I always knew sort of internally that if I could generate enough business, if I could generate enough leads, if I could keep my pipeline full, then a lot of other things could get screwed up in my business, right? I could be terrible at actually transacting. I could be terrible at the paperwork. I could be terrible at attention to detail. And I would still be okay because I had enough business. I'm not saying that's okay. I'm not saying that you should forget about everything else. My point is that you are guaranteed to win if you consistently lead generate, guaranteed to lose if you do not. So here's what I want you to do. Or actually, if you can, here's how you can achieve your goals. And even before I get into mastering your mindset and skill set, real quick about me, I didn't quite give you my story, right? So I got into selling real estate. I got my real estate license. I came out of being an artist working in exhibit design, but there in that industry, I was just getting more work for less pay, and I wasn't getting any more pay, and I wanted to earn more. And I saw all these real estate agents who made it look easy, right? Selling real estate, controlling their own schedule, driving fancy cars. It looked like it was going to be so easy, and I was going to make a ton of money. So I go and get my real estate license. That was not the case at all. I discovered that I was in a sales and marketing business. I literally didn't realize it, that I had to be lead generating all the time. And that's not something I wanted to do, but I had to because I had quit my job. I didn't have much money in the bank, and I had to go and make this thing work. So I did, and I took the crappy scripts that my broker gave me and started calling FSBOs and expireds and just practicing and working on it. And eventually it worked out. And eventually I took listings and built a business and was able to start buying some leads. And then I partnered up with another guy in my market who had a small team. He had 5 agents. They were doing maybe 100 transactions a year. And he said, hey, you're one of the best prospectors in our office. Will you come work with me? And I said, sure. But frankly, I'm getting a little burned out. I want to figure out how to teach other people how to do this. So we partnered up, and I had at the time heard of this cool idea in our industry, which was inside sales, where you pay somebody to come in and work your leads for you and tee up appointments for you. So we were going to try that out, and I proceeded to waste a lot of money and screw it up until I finally figured out how to hire other people, pay them a salary, train them how to convert our leads, train them how to book good qualified appointments for us, and how to follow up with people to nurture them into transactions. So we scaled that team from 5 agents and 100 transactions to over 30 agents and over 650 transactions a year. And part of it was an inside sales department that I had built that was generating 200 to 250 transactions for us per year. So now for the last 9 years, my company and I have been training other agents and teams and brokers on a really high level, how to convert their leads, how to double and triple the number of appointments that you're able to get from the same type of leads that you have. We didn't have any special leads. It was just all the same stuff that you're buying right now. But we trained people how to convert them at a really high level so that they can generate more business and income and buy more leads and invest in more marketing and build their systems. Anyway, that's my quick backstory that I forgot to add in when we first started this. So why am I telling you that? Because I want you to understand that I've been there, I've done it, I've scaled my way up to where I currently am now. And one of the big things about it is being able to master my mindset and skill set. And when I say mastery, it feels a little bit inauthentic, right? I haven't mastered my mindset or my skill set entirely. I'm still learning, I'm still growing. The point is that on the road to mastery, from wherever you're at now to wherever you want to get to, the degree to which you can start to master more of your own mindset and your skill set will enable you to develop the consistency that you need, right? Develop the skills that you need, develop the systems that you need to double or triple your income. It is absolutely possible for you to do. So wherever you're currently at, you can go farther, you can get more if you want more. And the very first aspect of that is mastering your mindset and your skill set. So here's what I want you to chat in for me. This is a little bit interactive. I want you to chat in. How does call reluctance show up for you? What I mean by that is you're on a webinar about call reluctance, right? The title is Smash Call Reluctance. So somewhere you're struggling with call reluctance or not doing the thing you need to do. So I want you to chat in. What does it look like when you're caught in this sort of call reluctance or procrastination? Like, what happens? Are you avoiding doing what you need to do? What are you thinking, right? Are you imagining that these people are just going to reject you, or that all the leads are bad, or that you're going to feel bad when they sort of reject you or talk to you or, don't interact with you well? Like, what are you thinking? So chat it in. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? How does it work for you? What do you do instead of doing what you're supposed to do? What do you do instead of doing your lead generation, doing your outreach, making your calls, sending your texts, sending your emails? What are you thinking, right? What are the negative thoughts that you have? Chat them in. I want you to chat these in because I want everybody to see that you're not the only one, right? You're not the only one who's dealing with this. We all deal with it. I deal with it too. Even when I'm trying to think about or trying to motivate myself to do the things I know I'm supposed to do, I have hesitation too. I don't want to do it. I would rather just sit around in my jammies and play video games, frankly. Like that's way easier. There's nothing to deal with. There's no thinking or thoughts or issues. So chat in for us. How does call reluctance show up for you? What are the negative thoughts or feelings so that everybody else can see how it affects you as well? Okay, chat that in. All right, good. Moving on. Here's what I want to ask you. If you want to do more business, if you want to set more appointments, if you want to more consistently do your lead gen, your outreach, your phone calls, your texts, your emails, your door knocks, your networking, your pop-bys, whatever it is that you're doing, if you want to increase your business, you want to get to the next level, I'm going to see if you have some of these things present in your business that are absolutely necessary. And if you don't have these, it creates a negative impact on whether or not you're willing to do the things that you have to do. So do you have a time-blocked schedule? Now, what do I mean by that? Do you actually have a schedule that shows when you're going to lead generate, when you're going to work on your administrative work, when you're going to go on your appointments, when you're going to do the other projects within your business, right? Working on your social media account, working on your email drip campaigns, working on your direct mail piece, whatever it may be. Do you have a time-blocked schedule? A lot of agents don't have a time-blocked schedule at all. And then or do you, and chat in me if this is you, do you have a time-blocked schedule, but you don't actually follow it? Chat in me if that's you, right? That happens. So when I first got into the business, I discovered that I needed to control my schedule. I needed to know, I needed to like lay this out, when I was going to lead generate, when I was going to do admin, when I was going to go on appointments. So I time blocked my schedule. Now, one of the big mistakes that I made at first is I tried to really dial in my entire schedule and tried to schedule everything throughout each day, like really tight. And then invariably by 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., I got pulled off track. My schedule blew up somehow for the rest of the day, right? I had to do something, I had to jump on this fire, or somebody called, like I just got pulled off my schedule and it fell apart. So then but I knew that I needed more organization. So when I went back to it and tried it again, I said, okay, I think the most important thing that I have to do every single day is lead generate, right? I'm just going to put that on my schedule. That's going to be the only thing. I put lead generation and lunch on my schedule. And I was like, okay, if I can just follow this, then I will do better, right? It's sort of like going to the gym. If you haven't been working out or exercising at all, the idea that you're going to exercise 5 or 6 days a week is ridiculous, and you're destined for failure. So if you haven't been using a time block schedule, if you haven't controlled your schedule at all, or if you've just been completely ignoring it and sort of freewheeling, start small. Start with what the most important things are. And in our business, like I said, it's lead gen. So put the lead gen blocks on your schedule, follow those blocks, and get that down first. Get consistent about showing up for your lead gen, then add on another category of time block to your schedule, follow that. So if you can get your lead gen done, great. If you can get your administrative time pushed into another block on your schedule, that's excellent too, because we have a tendency to just let our admin work take as long as take more time than it needs and do it whenever. We're just constantly doing something, right? Busy work, but not really good productive work. So if you can focus on your lead gen and squeeze your admin time into a certain block of time on your schedule, you'll be developing the habit and the muscle of following a schedule. And then you can add more things onto your time blocks as you develop that capability. Because it's really it's a skill set to develop over time, to be able to follow a schedule. All right, so that's time block schedule. Do you have a list of people to contact? Do you know who you're going to be doing outreach to before you get to your lead gen block? Because I'm sure you've experienced this. Chat in me if it's you, where you're like, okay, I'm going to lead gen at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. You get started kind of 10:05, 10:10. And then you crack open your CRM and you realize you don't know who you're going to talk to, or it's completely disorganized. And you spend the next 30 to 45 minutes just trying to figure out who to talk to. And maybe at the last 5 minutes, you're going to make a phone call or two, or you decide I'm just going to fire a couple texts and you're done with your lead gen block for the day. And then you're like, this whole lead gen thing doesn't really work very well and it's inefficient. Maybe I just need to find a different way to succeed in the business without actively lead generating, because you totally blew up that time spot. You didn't do it efficiently. Instead, here's what it should look like. You spend 30 minutes before your lead gen block figuring out who you're going to contact, getting the list together, making sure it's clean, knowing what you're going to say, maybe even role playing with somebody to get warmed up. Then at the top of the start of your hour for your lead gen, you start lead generating. Okay? You start at the start, you go until the end, and you just make as many contacts and outreaches as you possibly can. That's what it should look like. So be prepared. And listen, if you haven't been doing this for a while, maybe you need to take an hour today to get ready, or even 2 hours today to get ready and get things cleaned up for your lead gen block tomorrow. Okay. Do you have confidence around what to say and when to say it? This is massively important. Who likes to show up and be bad at something? Who likes to show up and be confused and make a fool out of themselves? Nobody, right? So if you don't have confidence around what to say to your leads and when to say it, how to deliver it, and what to do when the lead objects or rejects you or says, no, not yet, not with you. If you don't know what to say, of course you're not going to do it. Of course you're not going to spend time lead generating, because it makes you feel terrible. If you were completely dialed in and really skilled at sales, and you pretty much knew what to say to anybody at any time and could carry on a good, comfortable, mutually beneficial sales conversation with anybody, you would do it a lot more frequently. You wouldn't have as much call reluctance, I promise you. I just spoke to a guy the other day who was considering doing training with our company. He was spending $3,500 per month on lead gen. $3,500 per month worth of leads coming in. Here's what he told me when I first started talking to him. I said, hey, what's the biggest problem that you have around booking more appointments from the leads you have? And he said, well, my leads aren't motivated and they're not serious about buying or selling. And I said, okay. So something that we like to do before we take a new client into our training is we do a role play with them. We role play some of their skill set because we want to see, how does their scripting sound? And it's a way for us to understand, are you kind of basic? Are you really basic at your training, or are you more advanced at your training? And here's a little side note secret that I've discovered after being in this industry for 20 years, is that a lot of agents have never received any professional sales training, and it shows. So I'm doing the role play with him to try and figure out, is he basic? Is he more advanced? And his scripting was so incredibly, I'm trying to avoid using the word bad. Let's put it this way. Literally, he had terrible scripting, didn't know what to say, didn't know really how to open a conversation with a lead, and had no clue what to do with a lead after the lead said, I'm just looking, or I'm just getting started, or just window shopping, or not interested. Like, that basic of an objection shut him down completely. So it's like, no wonder you think that none of your leads are motivated. No wonder you think that they're not serious, because, you know, in our industry, a lot of the leads that we're buying are people that are really way up the sales funnel. They're not ready to talk to an agent yet. They're not ready to do anything yet. And a lot of our job is around building rapport and creating nurtures for future business. So he literally had no skill set around building rapport or creating nurtures. And so he was looking for hot and ready to go buyers and sellers who wanted to meet today or wanted to interact today. But he was looking through a pile of people who were at least 3 to 6 months away from being ready to do that, and blaming the leads. And $3,500 per month of his money was going up in flames because he literally did not have the proper scripting for how to deal with that sort of that leads in that step of the funnel. Anyway, my point is that if you have the right skill set, if you have the right scripting, if you have the right approach, every single person that you talk to is a lead. Every single person you talk to is a nurture. Every single person you interact with is a future piece of business. It really opens the possibilities. And when you are really well scripted and really well prepared, and you understand the different types or genres or levels of the leads that you're talking to, you see so much more possibility. Whereas if you don't know what to say and you're unscripted, you just think that everything sucks. So if that's you, you need to work on your skills, and you need more scripting around what to do in certain situations, and it will make you massively more confident. Do you have a community of others doing the same thing? Meaning, are you in a group, any groups of agents who are lead generating actively? Because, when I first got into the business, I was at Coldwell Banker, actually. And this is back when we went to the offices. I went to the office pretty much every day, worked out of the office, but it had those low wall cubbies, cubicles. And so really you could pretty much hear what anybody was saying as you walked by. So here I am trying to lead generate, doing my outbound calling, and you can hear my script, you can hear what I'm saying, you can hear that I'm talking to strangers, and you can also hear when they're objecting to me, right? And so it was embarrassing to have all these people hear me, and none of the other agents were lead generating. So they're all just sitting there. I don't know how they generated business, but they're not lead generating. They're really not making any phone calls. And I'm the guy that's cold prospecting and everybody can hear me. It's embarrassing. But what I found was I found a couple of other people in my company who were also lead generating. And so we would meet in a conference room around the same time each day, and we would lead generate together in the same room. And that made it way more comfortable because I was around other people doing the same thing. Now that we're virtual, it's really important that you have a community of other people who are also trying to grow their businesses. A lot of agents just sit around and wait for past clients or Sphere to refer them business. A lot of agents only do a little bit of business. That's the reality of it. And so I don't know any agents who do a lot of business who don't regularly lead generate. So if you want to do more business, you have to more regularly lead generate. And you need to find a couple of other people who are also doing it too, so that you have a community of other people to support you. It's not that easy to keep going, right? It's hard. We get kicked in the teeth sometimes, but you have to pick yourself up. You have to keep going, and having a community of other people who are doing the same thing makes that so much easier, right? You can share with each other the struggles that you have. You can share your wins with each other. You can collaborate and bounce ideas around scripting or phrasing and things like that off of each other. So it just generates more energy for you and helps you keep going. Not only that, but if you have a community of others who are showing up to do the work too, and you don't show up to do the work, you just have that implied feeling of guilt, right? Which helps you show up and do the work. All right. Do you have a resource library of positive mindset material? This is super important. I'm going to share with you today a couple of books that I use that help me with my mindset, and I'm hoping, I know they'll help you to get them. I listen to a lot of stuff on Audible. I follow a lot of people on YouTube. So right now I'm listening to Alex Hormozy, and Joe Hudson is another guy on YouTube that I've been following. And I'll show you guys some books here that I've been studying, or that I study, that have made an impact for me, that have helped me with my mindset, helped me with my consistency. But you need a resource library of positive mindset material. And you know what, for a long time I was journaling, and I found that I would keep journaling the same stuff. And so I do journal again. I don't know if I can recommend it entirely, but here's what I'll say. Find what works for you, find what helps you, keep doing what helps you, stop doing what doesn't help you, and find some other resource. Okay, so here's one of those books, The Motivation Myth by Jeff Hayden. Actually, let me ask you this. Is this good? Chat in for me. Is this good? Is this making an impact? Are you getting something out of this? Chat in yes if you're getting something out of it. Okay. The Motivation Myth by Jeff Hayden. This was a big one, and I want to tell you how I came about this. So, I was kind of struggling with my own mindset, because at a certain point, we get to these plateaus in our business where we're doing okay, making enough money. We want more, we want to grow more, but we're just not willing to do the work or the consistency or push through the barrier of the next level, getting to the next level for ourselves. And so I was trying to find something that would help me. And I was thinking, I just need more motivation. How do I find motivation? How do I thought it was like an external thing. I was like, where can I get more motivation to keep progressing to get to these higher goals in my business? So of course, I usually go and try to find a book or something to help me. And so I found this book, The Motivation Myth by Jeff Hayden. I was like, all right, let's see what this is about. Here's what I learned, that motivation is actually created by activity. Activity must come first. So this was a massive shift in perspective for me, because I thought that motivation was an external thing that you could get, right? But it turns out that motivation has to be created. We create our own motivation. And I'll explain to you how that works. So for me, I think the best example is like exercising or working out. I do not want to work out. I do not want to exercise. And I will do lots of things to avoid doing that. So what I do know now is that, or this is the experience that I had, like if I could force myself to work out, I would get started and my brain is screaming, stop doing this. I don't like it. This hurts. I don't want to do this anymore. But if I kept going, at a certain point, that voice got quieter and quieter. And then I'd be like, oh, I'm kind of enjoying this exercising. I'm feeling kind of good. This is not terrible. I keep going, and then I start to enjoy it more. And then I get into it. I'm really energized. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm working on it. I'm feeling good. I get done. I'm like, man, that was amazing. I'm going to do that every day, right? Because I feel so great. I feel accomplished. I feel energized. I'm excited. Until the next morning when I'm like, I don't feel like doing that. I don't want to do it. If that's you, chat in me. If you had that experience, right? Chat in me. And so going through that experience, what I realized is, once I got into the activity, once I started doing it and I got warmed up, I felt more like doing it. That's what he's saying in this book, is that 9 times out of 10, we're not motivated to do whatever it is, whatever the work is to get to our goal. We actually have to start doing it first, right? That this is the thing I remind myself of, that you will never feel like doing it until you get some way into doing it. You will never feel like working out until you get some way into working out. You will never feel like lead generating until you get some of the way into lead generating. So this is the thing that helps me. If it's time to work out and I'm thinking, I don't feel like doing that, I don't want to do that, I want to do something else, anything else, I remind myself, oh yeah, you're in the right spot. Of course you don't feel like doing it. You haven't started yet. So get started and you will feel like doing it. If you want to feel like doing it, start doing it before you feel like doing it. So this was a major shift for me. Grab this book, it will help you. Here's another one. Willpower Doesn't Work by Benjamin Hardy. So the big thing that I took away from this is, I think that if you aren't familiar with this concept, or if you aren't familiar with how this works, willpower burns out. We all have a limited amount of willpower any given day to make all the choices we have to make, right? If you have kids, that is especially straining to your decision making, because you are making decisions for more than just you. But making decisions around going to work, what food choices you have, your clothes, the things that you work on at work, the decisions and discussions that you have with people, all this drains your willpower energy. So grab this book because it will lay out a couple of principles for you as to how to keep yourself more energized. 1, controlling your environment, right? If you're on a call reluctance webinar, if you're struggling with lead generation, do you have an environment that is conducive to you lead generating? Do you have a schedule that's conducive to it? Do you have a location? Do you have a work-life not balance, work-life structure that will allow you to do the work that you need to do? Controlling your environment. Creating systems and habits that support your goals instead of taking away from them. So all of this goes together, right? How you manage your schedule, how you manage your time, how you manage your environment, how you manage your tools. I had talked about having your list of who you're going to talk to or reach out to ready before your lead generation. That's part of creating a system that will enable you to not have to make decisions and not have to tap your willpower. If you know when you're going to lead generate, you know who you're going to lead generate to, you know exactly what to say no matter what they say to you, you have the time reserved on your calendar, and you have turned off any notifications or distractions, or you've organized your life and business in a way that you can take an hour or 2 hours out of your day and nothing will burn down, no satellites will crash if you are offline and lead generating for that hour or two. That is a system that you build for yourself that supports you, that makes it much easier for you to do the work you need to do. Okay, so get that book, it's really good. Here's another one. If you're dealing with mindset issues, if you're dealing with positivity, I don't want to say positivity, let's say confidence versus pessimism. These are some really great books that you want to get. Angela Duckworth, Grit, Learned Optimism by Martin Seligman, and Carol Dweck, Mindset. Grab these books and listen to them. I don't know how things work for you. I just know that for me, over the last, say, 12, 15 years, that I've been doing personal development work to help me be happier, be more productive, be able to be a better leader, be a better business owner, be a better manager, and be a better salesperson, frankly. All of this development has helped, the thing that I work on is, how do I think? How do things work for me? What's in the way for me? When I'm supposed to, or not supposed to, when I've decided I want something and I've decided these are the steps I have to take to get there, when I don't want to do what I know needs to be done, what's getting in my way? How is my perception working? What is my perspective on this? How am I thinking? What am I telling myself? What am I thinking about these steps or these things? And so going through this kind of self-study work is something that has made a massive impact for me. And also then working with other people, right? Talking to a therapist, going to personal development events, learning from people who have done more than I've done, gives me the perspective and the tools and the strategies to leapfrog my business forward faster and be happier, frankly. So grab some of these books too. All right, so here's some techniques that I personally use that I'm just going to give to you that you can try to implement for yourself. If they work, great. If they don't use them. So I have this concept that I call the forest or the trees. So here's how this works. I'll just give you an example of these webinars. So I've been doing free training webinars for our vendor partners. And at this point, we are partnered with the top CRM providers, top website providers, lead providers in the real estate industry, because we've been doing it for a long time. Everybody loves our training, and it's so much different than anything else that you can learn out there. And it makes a real impact. So all these vendors love us, and they put us in front of their audience, right? So it's a natural lead generator for my company. We show up, do an amazing job, and people want to learn about training. But here's the problem. I've been doing this for a long time. And there are times when I don't feel like doing these training webinars, to be honest with you, right? I get in my own head sometimes, and I think, this isn't going to make an impact. These people don't want what I have. Sales training is so boring. These people want new, amazing tools, or they want something fancy, or they want it easy. They don't want the hard work of building a business. So it's a waste of my time to do this. When I'm in that dark mindset, in that pessimism, I recognize that I'm looking at all of you agents, all of the audience, as the forest, as a monolith, that all of you have the same perspective, that you're all going to reject the training, that you don't want to do it, that you don't value it, that it's not important, that it doesn't make a difference for you. That's what I'm looking at as the forest. So what I have to do is, when I can catch myself thinking in that way, I have to remind myself, no, there are lots of agents, there's lots of business people that we've made an amazing impact for, who've said how great our training is, how much different it is from anybody else, and how it's given them so much more confidence that the things we teach them really work, and they've gotten good appointments and closed more deals and converted more business and scaled their teams as a result of the things that we've taught them, and they love it. I have to remind myself of that. So when I do that, I'm shifting from the forest, this monolithic structure. I'm thinking individual trees. No, I helped this person. I helped this person. This person said the training was amazing, right? They're individual trees, and I kind of imagine it in my mind as taking that monolithic structure of the forest and kind of turning it on its side so that I can see between the trees and that there's space between them and that they're unique. And so then I tell myself, okay, you're going to do this webinar because you're looking for the couple of people who are looking for you. You're looking for the ones who need this. You're looking for the ones who you will make an impact for, right? Whose businesses you will make a difference. And that's why I do this. That's what I do it for, is to have that. So when I'm stuck in the all or nothing thinking of either everybody loves it or everybody hates it, I have to shift over to the I'm looking for the people who are looking for me. That helps in getting in front of an audience, going on stage, lead generating, reaching out to my leads, following up with leads, talking to people. That's where shifting from that monolith to the individual, breaking it down like that, gives me the ability to remember why I'm doing this and to put my focus back on where it actually matters, making a difference for people, individual people. So just like you, maybe hopefully this helps you. Try that, right? The next time where you're like, oh, these leads don't want to talk to me, they're no good, they're not going to do anything, know this. Within any set of leads that you have, no matter where they're coming from, there are people who will value the information that you give them, who will enjoy the conversation that you have with them, and who will transact either now or in the future, and you can be the one who helps them. So they are in that pile of leads that you have. Every company that I've worked with, especially teams and brokerages where they have 5,000 leads, 10,000 leads, 30,000 leads, 60,000, 150,000 leads, there are so many deals in their systems that are just rotting right now that nobody captures, and they lose them. And when they start working, then magically more appointments pop out, more deals get done as a result. So forest or the trees, that's my technique, one of my techniques. Here's another one. Do it badly. So I know I said earlier, who likes to show up and do stuff poorly? Nobody, but I've kind of flipped that on its head and said, okay, if I don't feel like doing it, part of what goes on in my head when I don't want to do something is I'm a bit of a perfectionist, right? So if I can't show up and be amazing at my lead gen, amazing at my scripts, or amazing at my workout and have a fantastic workout, I feel like it's not valid or somehow not worth my time. So what I do, instead of getting into that perfectionism mindset, is I say, hey, just show up and do it badly. I give myself permission to have a half-ass workout. I give myself permission to not push myself too hard, to just do the bare minimum, to get on that call and just have a half-ass conversation with somebody, right? I give myself permission to screw it up. And being that I'm a little bit more perfectionistic, it helps me to give myself that permission to be able to show up and do the bare minimum, show up and do it poorly, right? Instead of getting stuck in the perfectionistic mindset where I'm only going to do it if it's going to be amazing. I'm only going to do it if it all is going to work out perfectly. I'm only going to do it if I know everything to say it all the time, right? Just show up and do it poorly, because showing up and doing it poorly is better than not doing it at all. So that's what I tell myself. Here's another one. Just get started. Now, that all sounds great, Dale. Just get started. How do I just get started? The way that I do it is in combination. So I'm going through forest of the trees, right? I'm like, okay, we're going to focus on the trees, and I'm going to give myself permission to just do it badly. And to get myself started, I think, okay, I'm only going to do it for 30 minutes, or I'm only going to do it for 20 minutes. I can show up and do a bad job for 20 minutes and then see how I feel. Here's the thing. If you show up and you can at least do it for 20 minutes, you're probably going to get past that inertia and keep going and keep doing it. So that's what I use for just get started. Okay, and then do it in a group. Find other people that are doing it too. Go do it with other people. So right now, I just paid $5,000 to go to a workshop, a 2-day workshop, to get around other people who are doing the same thing. It makes a massive difference, even for us, depending on where you're at, even for me as a successful business owner. To go to the next level, I need to go get around other successful business owners and discover that I don't know everything and that there are faster ways to achieve where I want to get to. So showing up, having a group of people that I can collaborate with, that there's a certain level of expectation, implied accountability that I'm going to show up and do the work, makes it way easier. Okay, let's talk about your skills. Because as we identified, I got a few minutes left here. If you don't know what to say or how to say it, your sales skills, your scripting, right? The scripting that you use for your leads is massively important. Let me ask you, how confident are you at getting anyone on the phone and having a conversation with them? And it doesn't even have to be the phone, like face to face, or even interacting via text or email. How confident are you at getting into these conversations with your prospects? This is one of the things that has the most impact on you not doing what you need to do. And over the years of training and being in sales myself, I've really kind of boiled down scripting and sales skills into 4 main categories for us salespeople. That would be introductions, how you get into a conversation, your objection handling, what process you use when the prospect says, not yet, not now, not with you, not under these circumstances. Your value propositions, basically why somebody should buy or sell real estate with you and how you're able to articulate it to them. And then obviously closing for appointments. If you can't confidently or productively close for appointments, you get far fewer appointments. So these are the 4 core skills. And so I want to just run through these real quick with you, and then I'm going to tell you how you can get more training with me and my company. Here's how introductions go wrong. The leads disengage or hang up or reject you. If you're dealing with this, if you're running into this, you're dealing with an introductions problem primarily. In fact, we just worked with a company that they do about 2,000 to 3,000 outbound dials every single week. And we made some small tweaks just to their intro script. It tripled the number of minute-plus conversations they were able to have every week. 3 times the number of people across 2,000 to 3,000 dials. 3 times the number of people had minute-plus conversations with their salespeople, just tweaking their intros. So if you're dealing with this, it's an introduction issue. Leads make a decision about you or your offering very quickly. You can get that sense, that feeling from them when they do it. Leads won't give you any info or share details of their plans. Leads won't answer you again after the first conversation. These are all signs that you have an issue with your introductory scripts. Here's how objections go wrong. If you don't have a good objection handling process, here's what can happen. If you have no training, you kind of roll over and die. Somebody says, not yet, not with you, not under these circumstances. You say, okay, let me know if something changes. Or you say, I'll follow up with you in a while to see where you're at, or something like that. You just give up. If you have some training, you will just close, right? You know what I'm saying. Hey, we're not going to be buying a home until next year. Oh, got it. Well, if I could show you the perfect home, is that something you want to see now? That's a close. If all you can do is close into the face of an objection, you're going to be, you will lose a lot more than you're going to win. Some salespeople, what we see is if they're experienced, but they have poor training, when a lead objects to them, they're going to argue or they're going to educate with no permission, and they're going to try to close. This is what a lot of the sales training out there teaches you to do, here's how you know that makes no sense. In your everyday life as a consumer, if you say no to a salesperson, how much do you want them to argue with you? How much do you want them to try to change your mind? Or how much do you want them to try to offer you something as you've just said no to them? Never. You never want that. That's why that training doesn't work. And that's why doing what they train you doesn't work either. And so, rightfully so, you've probably abandoned doing it at all. If your objection handling doesn't really work well, the leads will know that you disagree with them and that you're trying to sell them something. Nobody wants to talk to a salesperson like that. You lose your lead and you lose the future sale. And I'm going to say that you're going to lose referrals and repeat business if you don't have a good objection handling process. I think that that's why a lot of agents will actually sort of roll over and die and give up on objections, because they're afraid that they're going to piss the lead off and that they're going to lose them, or that they're going to lose any referral business. So they're hoping that they can get this future piece of business if they don't handle the objection or they don't keep pressing. But what you need to have is a really good, productive process of inquiry to understand the objection that doesn't also piss the lead off. And it's totally possible to do that. Here's how value propositions go wrong. If you don't have any training, you have no proposition. Essentially, if I said, why should I buy a home with you? Why should I list my home with you? You literally couldn't answer the question. If you have some training, it's going to sound like every other agent, right? I love real estate. I'm always available. I'm honest. Of course, you should be honest, right? Who the hell? That's not a value proposition, right? I'm honest. I'll tell you exactly how it goes. That's the bare minimum expectation. That just sounds like every other agent who doesn't have a value proposition. If you're experienced but with poor training, you don't sound credible, and your answer to the question of why should I buy or sell with you isn't very exciting. And here's what happens frequently is that you'll lose leads to other agents. If you're dealing with that, it's because your value propositions aren't strong enough to attract people to work with you instead of your competitors. And you lose leads to better advertising, and you fail to stop the agent shopping, right? So if you're dealing with those bottom three, usually it's a value proposition issue. Or if you're not closing enough business and the only people that you're closing are people who already love you, or warm referrals, if that's all you can close, then again, it's a value proposition issue. So you just haven't developed the skill set and the scripting to be able to be more competitive in the market of other agents. How appointments go wrong when you're trying to book an appointment or a face-to-face with a lead. No training. Only leads who are ready now and want you. You can only get appointments with those type of people if you have no training. If you get some training or you have some experience, you can get some of the leads who are ready soon, but you're still only working mostly now business. And if you're one-dimensional, right? And if all you can do, if your appointment really just sounds like one thing, which is look at houses to buy or meet with me to talk about listing your property, then you're only going to work with the ready to buy or sell people. You're going to end up losing a lot of future deals to other agents, because we all know this. I don't remember what the statistic is, but it doesn't matter. We all know that this is true, is that in my own business, I've experienced this, and you have too, which is that most people will work with the first agent they meet with. So if you can't get face-to-face with more of your leads, more of your prospects earlier, you have a higher degree or a higher chance of losing them to another agent. And if you have to wait until the lead is making selections, if you have to wait to meet with a prospect until they're ready to interview agents, then you're just less likely to win, because you want to get in there before they decide to interview people. You want to get in there before they start booking to meet with other agents, so that you have a much bigger chance of winning the business. Here's how you know this is true. When's the last time you needed to get some plumbing fixed at your house? So you call around, you look up plumbers on Google Maps or wherever, you start calling plumbers. Maybe the first couple don't answer, you hang up, you call another one. The first plumber that you get, who sounds like they know what they're talking about, sounds like they can help you, and is willing to book an appointment with you to come see, that's usually the last plumber that you call, right? Because you don't want to spend your time talking to different salespeople. You feel like you got the box checked and you're ready to move on. That's what happens a lot with people choosing agents. So if you can be that first agent, much more likely to win that business, much less likely to lose it to other people. Okay, so I'm really pushing time here. I hope that you got some great techniques out of today, that you can take these with you and will help you in developing your business and overcoming the obstacles that are in the way of you taking your action. So here's how to get more with my company. Our appointment masterclass. This is a 2-hour training. It's the appointment masterclass. It'll show you how the mega teams convert their leads like a machine today. In the 2 hours, you're gonna learn mega team scripting secrets. You're gonna learn mega team text and email secrets. You got a lot of these phone calls who don't answer the phone, right? You're trying to call these leads. You want them to respond to you. You need to know the secrets around texting and emailing that these mega teams are using. You're gonna learn mega team CRM secrets. Listen, we all have a limited amount of time every day to work our leads, and so you have to be really efficient. You need efficient systems, you need an efficient approach so that you can get the most number of sales interactions, set the most number of appointments, so that you can close the most number of deals in the least amount of time. You're gonna learn some CRM secrets from mega teams that I can show you. And mega team agent training secrets. How do they take an agent, add them to their team, and get them showing houses and writing deals in the first 2 to 3 weeks? How do they do that? And here's I'll give you a spoiler. It's not through the quality of their leads, okay? So I'm gonna show you those in our 2-hour appointment masterclass training. Here's how you can get onto the 2-hour masterclass training. Scan the QR code here or go to smartsalescoaching.com/masterclass. This is gonna be the most impactful training around lead conversion and booking more appointments in your real estate business today that you've ever been to. So I'll see you on that 2-hour appointment masterclass. It says on there what the date is. If you're not able to make it live or you're afraid that you won't be able to make it live, you can upgrade and get the recording and the slides from the actual 2-hour training. So don't worry about whether you can be there or not. Ideally, I'd love to have you there. Please be there personally because you can chat in some questions and things, but if you can't make it, you can just upgrade and you can get the recordings, you can get the slides, and you can watch it afterwards. So thanks for joining me today. Hopefully you got massive benefit out of this, and I'll see you in the next training.